And that was also the other thing, like I read Cody was like, yeah, people kept asking her, so why, like, why are you obsessed with like doing like, kids stuff and kids movies and it's like kind of, well, okay, do an adult thing now, but where in Juno is like, the young ones talking like 30-year-olds now is like a 30-year-old talking like a young teenager. I love that little swing around.
Mom, get my back here.
It's fun. It's a great movie and just yeah, it's my favorite Charlize performance. It's by far. She's just you can't take your eyes off of her. Like every moment, she plays it so well.
And like, I love they don't explain the divorce, right? So that I love that. They don't explain really why they broke up, Buddy and Mavis. I know she had the miscarriage, but I
But
love
that's all
to.
they say,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
so it just leaves it up to your imagination. You don't know how much of an alcoholic she is. You don't know, you see enough of her OCD tendencies with her hair and she has some tics and you see enough of that. And I love it too because some movies I think are so on the nose with their explanations of characters that this one gives you enough to ask the good questions in this. So like this does enough to create I think a three-dimensional character because sure, I mean, listen, the way that she creeps out that woman in the Macy's is just oh man, she oozes sort of unhealthy. And then the way that, for a single mom, you have a lot of confidence. I mean, she's an absolute beast in some regards, but then you can see what not little, but what things led to that point. And I don't know, I love it. And yeah, I guess I just haven't seen, even, when I saw this, I was quite naive about the like process of getting ready. So watching her go to the salon, do all the makeup, get the dress, get like everything else, I was very naive to that process. And I thought that was really cool of Charlize because I don't know. And no one even talked about that too in regards to this movie. They were like, when they talk about sometimes an actor's getting like, what was it like unprettied for movies? Like, oh, you got prettied down. But like, they
Yeah.
didn't do that here. They just showed how, like, the process of going into making her look like Charlize and like, I was completely naive to that process. So watching, I'm like, this is really cool because I don't think I've ever seen that on screen before. You've never seen the time that people take to get ready like that. So I was like, this is,
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of
Doesn't it
sat,
look exhausting? I
yeah.
find it exhausting just looking at it. Like,
uh, and I,
but yeah.
and I have a question too. So you and I we write. We've been writing for years. We churn out a lot of content. When's your writing window? Because I was watching Mavis. She goes and drinks whiskey. She drinks a lot of Maker's Mark. They had Maker's Mark in Juneau too. And then she goes and houses some Kentucky Hut, so Kentucky Fried Chicken Taco Hut and Pizza Hut. There was a song when I
Is
worked
that a
at
real
yeah
thing?
yeah it
Is
was
that you
yeah
guys have that?
yeah. And you know what's interesting? When I was in college, there's a
No.
song that I haven't been able to find since, but it's like I'm going to the Taco Bell. I'm going to the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. Like there's a whole EDM song to that, and it played
Yeah.
in my bar all the time. And I haven't
Oh
listened to
my
it since, but it's burnt into
gosh.
my memory. But those are real things, and just I
Whoa.
don't know. And even the scene where they show her eating, but it's just her back. I'm like, this is good back acting by Theron. Charlize, like she crushed it. But
She's that good.
I mean, it's just I don't know. And but yeah,
She
your
does
your writing
toe
window.
acting.
Like,
Toe
oh yeah,
acting. Yeah.
great toe.
Is that her feet though? I wonder, is it her feet? Good
Oh
toe
yeah. No,
acting.
I think it was because Reitman said
I
that
think so too.
when he went with them, so he's like Charlie's. It's in the script because Diablo Cody had just had a kid, so she only showed up to set once. But she said Reitman is awesome to work with, and she could have been there the whole time if she wanted. He's just open to whatever because they have a great working relationship. But
Mm.
he looked at Charlize and he looked at the makeup department and he's like, "Listen, how do y'all do this?" So then he just listened to them, and then they went and filmed that. And so I really do think that because they only shot this over 30 days, which
Yeah, 12 mil budget, 30 days. I'm
yeah,
also thinking like, also Charlize is pretty hands-on. She's not like, so yeah, yeah, no, I think hands-on.
I think a
I
30-day
think it was
shoot,
her
right?
hands and feet. Yeah, totally.
And
Probably.
great toe acting. But like
Great so.
when's your writing window? Because she writes when she's drunk, she writes after eating, she writes in the morning, she writes on a bus. She's never on a bus, but she writes on a bench. Like what's your writing window? Do you have one?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's changed over the years, but yeah, like I can't do it as frenetically as she does here. But I mean, it's because she drinks. That's why, though. I remember when I was in my 20s and drinking in my 20s, because I used to drink. Um, don't do it, kids. Um, like, I mean, that was also, my schedule was way more scattered. So that was another thing. Like, again, seeing someone like her on screen, you never get to see someone like that. Like we all, we love to talk about how relatable characters are and whatnot. Like that for me was relatable, like having this crazy like schedule and being hung over and having to write. Yeah, I did that back in the day. Would not recommend.
Yeah.
Don't do it, kids. But yeah, I mean, gosh, she wrote how many books? Like that? That's something. But that's also the thing. We don't know how long she's been drinking. Has she always been drinking? Did she start drinking when she got a divorce? Did she get divorced because the husband couldn't deal with the drinking? There's a lot of questions about her backstory. And I like that because I think, sorry, I just want to like say, I think it works because it makes her interesting and intriguing. Because I think like a lot of people will just like start watching the movie and be so turned off by this narcissistic, horrible, mean girl. Like not everyone likes watching Mean Girls. I know I struggle. Like it's too much for me. It actually triggers like the bullies from school back in the day. With her though, like because she's so complex and because there are like stuff left out, I'm like, whoa, ooh, what's going on here? I think it like just makes her all the more intriguing to not have this. She started drinking then, and that's why she got divorced, and blah 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 blah. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah, it's actually a great little trick. I think a writing trick, how to keep a character intriguing enough for people that might like it might put them off too much or like be too much of a no, I don't like this, I can't root for someone like this, or I don't care. It's not really like necessarily about rooting, it's just like about caring to see what happens to this character. Which is why I like the fact that it doesn't have this happy ending and she's all changed and better and she's in therapy now and no, I don't think Mavis, I don't know if she's ever going to go to therapy, honestly.
She's got a journey ahead of her, and
She's going to eat, pray, love it, I think.
I
I
feel
don't
bad for any therapist she actually goes to. And on her apartment complex, I did remember or actually she lives in a condo in the Minneapolis, but it says now leasing or now renting. So I wonder if that was a newer place that she just moved into after the divorce, and that became her pad.
Ah, nice. Well
That's
spotted.
that's
Yeah.
kind of maybe so it doesn't. It seems like she, but you know what I love about her is when she's in that
The,
hotel room for what 3 days, it becomes horrible to be in. Right? Reitman said there's 3 stages of it,
absolutely.
and he said he didn't even go in there during the third time. He just sat outside because it depressed him too much. And then also the dog, they picked a Pomeranian because he's like, I just
Oh,
wanted her to basically have a dog that was a
shit.
hostage. And
Yeah.
anytime that the dog saw, like anytime, I guess in general, if a Pomeranian sees you, they're happy. So she just absolutely imprisons this poor dog. But whenever it sees her, it's happy. And it's, every little decision I just really dig about that. But yeah, I felt really bad for the dog though. I felt for the
It
poor.
was, I mean, same. It was hard to watch, but a great choice in the sense of, she can't even take care of a dog. Like that's the terrible, terrible state she's in. I mean, that is one thing that they do in the end is they do show her going back and
Yes.
she shows remorse. She does. She hugs that pup and she's like, I'm so sorry. She knows she's done wrong with her dog. So that's like again, she she feels better because Matt's sister told her how amazing she is, and she's like, "You're right. I am amazing and better than this town." So like she leaves as her terrible self, but then she does tell her dog, "I'm so, so sorry. I know I've done wrong." Again, so complex. Like it's, not just all good or all bad. It's like this mixed bag, and I just love it because
Mm-hmm.
there's just a lot to dig in. You always talk about, I remember like back in the day when I was doing acting, like you want characters with meat on it. And if there's not enough meat, you put meat on it, like that's your job. And I think, I think Cody wrote a great character, and I think Charlize was the perfect person to put the meat on because, yeah, you just want to dig into Mavis Gary. Like 10 years later, where's Mavis? Where do you think Mavis is?
Poof. Still doing well somewhere and still not being listened to.
And still being terrible
Yeah.
to
But
anyone she doesn't really care for.
but I like it though how whenever she tries to explain herself to people, they just don't listen to her. It's
Yeah.
but
It's sad.
the way she presents herself though, and the way that she taught, like, oh, I'm doing awesome. So then when she says something, people, like, they don't. So I feel like if she even tries to open up to most people, they wouldn't listen to her. Like she tried, I think
Yeah.
she tried a little bit with Sandra, where she said, "I'm not right. I don't feel happy. Other people can be happy, but I can't." And Sandra's like, "No, you're just the best. That's why." And it's like, I think she was trying to have a genuine moment of compassion there. And then I like how Colette, or I'm sorry, Sandra basically says you're the best, but then she's like, "Take me with you," and Mavis is like, "No." So she tries to open up to her, then
You're
Sandra
good
just,
here.
"Yeah, you're good here." They almost cut it right there. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Terrible
But
line.
but yeah, I mean, she tried to open up, and then Sandra just sort of became like everybody else, and then she just immediately disregarded her after that. I thought that was really interesting. Also, I thought it was kind of cool that, most movies involve people going to small towns, and the small towns are uncultured, or, no one's doing anything, or, they're just miserable there. But I feel like it's Mavis invading this nice town. And yes, there are
Yeah,
problems there. There are issues.
absolutely.
But I do love, though, that, I mean, uh, she she came there and threw a monkey wrench in their lives, which aren't terrible. And I like that. I felt like the kind of the heartland of, because outside of Minnesota, I have a lot of family that lives in Iowa, Minnesota. It's very farmlandy. There's a lot of lakes. There's a lot of lakes. Like she said, it was like a lake town, and so like a hick town, hick lake town. But I kind of dug how they showed some respect, at least what I considered respect, comparatively to what most movies would show to
Yeah,
a
like Garden
rural,
State.
yeah, like a rural town where these people are happy. This isn't just like, hey, now, I don't know why they'd be speaking like that in Minnesota in the north, but it's, I like that she invades it. It just makes me happy. Everyone's pretty chill in this town, and a good crowd shows up for nipple confusion. And I mean, I'm sure news still gets around to everybody, but I mean, there's a big mall close by, so it's not really that small. They got
They're getting a
Chipotle.
Chipotle,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not small. So it's interesting that she's calling it a hick town. I mean, I guess if Minneapolis, St. Paul, it's a big city. I mean, there's a lot there, but she's not really going to the area in Texas Chainsaw Massacre where her town used to be. I mean, seems like a pretty big city. But once again, I keep repeating myself. With Jeff Nichols, he did take shelter in a mud. I feel like he has a respect for the Midwest and the South. And I also feel like they had this for the North, too. Like, they didn't try to go drop dead gorgeous, which I love, on the town. But it's another reason I like Diablo Cody. She sort of respects that area. And that's another just refreshing thing for me. I mean, this movie, I keep saying it, but this is one of the most, not, it goes by so fast. It's like she doesn't say much for the first 8 minutes. It's largely just her chugging 2-liter cola, which I love as a good touch,
Yeah.
and then driving to town and listening to the same song over and over. There's a lot there. I felt bad for Diablo Cody too, because people kept like watching this movie, and I think she wrote a brilliant film. And they're like, "Oh, you didn't have characters saying like, 'Hey, I'm the Scooby Doo like, I don't know. That's a horrible example, but Juno, you know how stylized the dialogue is in Jennifer's Body and Juno?
Yeah.
Like, it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
here, and people kept kind of giving her crap
No.
for it. Like, oh,
This is
where'd the
so much,
dialogue go? And she's like, I'm growing
this
up.
is
Like, yeah.
natural. Yeah.